Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box or plant shopping at Lowe's out in Prosper, Texas. As always, please make sure you are hitting that like button for my video, as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. That's the fastest way to get in touch with me. And if you like 1 hour plant shopping videos daily, please subscribe to my channel with the notification bell on. But as you can see right here, it is a beautiful afternoon when I filmed this video at the Lowe's Prosper. And I just wanted to check out real quick what plants they have in the outdoor section as well as the indoor. I have been doing a lot of plant shopping videos, and it's just been really exciting to see all of our plant foldies joining into the live premiere chats on a daily basis. Now, for those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome to the channel, and if you are watching this video live, please make sure you are hitting that like button as well as saying hello to the plant foldy community. We have quite a bit of people that come in on a daily basis, and I really appreciate that. But as you can see here, I love dark foliage plants. Coral bells are amazing, and it's a plant that I like to feature whenever I do my plant shopping videos. I will say I was super excited, plant foldies, for everybody to tune into our Sunday Fun Day plant marathon. So I did a compilation of some of my previous plant shopping videos. It was close to 4 hours yesterday, but I saw quite a bit of people just watching throughout the plant marathon, so I really appreciate that. Thank you all for just tuning in again for the plant marathon. And as you guys all know, I will be doing a vacation out in the Philippines. That's where my family is from, on June 27th. So I already have a lot of plant compilation videos ready to go. So for those that like to actually hang out and chat with some plant foldies, they will be available. But as you guys can see, everybody's favorite, that Hedera, Helix. So for those that don't know what that little inside joke is, I mispronounce Hedera Helix, which is English ivy. So all of our plant foldies like to count that during the live premiere. Now, Tree and Kathy, you guys are the main ones that actually follow that. So I just think it's hilarious. But as you can see right here, we do have a bunch of Fatsa japonica or Japanese Aralia. We've just got a bunch of these nice outdoor gardening plants. Now we see a bunch of caladiums, and I say this in pretty much every single video, but caladiums are the more colorful version of an alocasia. I would say that caladiums are a little bit easier to take care of because for the most part they are really grown outdoors. Love that cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. I love pink plants. I know the majority of you guys also love pink plants. I do love cordyline varieties. There's many varieties, and surprisingly not many big box stores or local plant nurseries really carry them, but there are quite a bit of cordyline plants. This is a caladium I like. This is a little bit of wine. This one is for $6.98. It's a proven winners caladium that's been hybridized. You can see that the leaves look like some red wine was splattered across it. Really cool looking caladium. Now with caladiums, they do require more of like a shaded area. Now here is a beautiful pink plant, and I love the fact that Lowe's has these available. These are for, I believe, $4.98. These are the Tradescanthia Nanook. So if you like a plant that's fast growing, easy to propagate, easy to grow, and it's another plant that can tolerate different types of lighting conditions, whether it's full sun, shade, although I would say it likes bright indirect light the most. Get yourself a Nanook, Tradescanthia. And then these are variegated potato vines for $4.98. Really love the look of variegated potato vines. It got a beautiful pink foliage about it. Now these do require full sun, very fast, vigorous grower. I am currently growing mine in a 6-inch a planter, and it is already growing, putting on a lot of growth. It is another plant that's easy to propagate. So once it starts to really vine, you can just take a cutting, stick it in water, and it will root. And as you guys know, I have been talking a lot about getting free plants and plant propagation. I do intend to make a couple of video inserts where I show you some propagations, just a little bit of an update. I have been quite busy with work, And, the weather in the Dallas-Fort Worth area hasn't been the best. We've been getting some really bad storms. Thankfully, all of my plants have been doing okay. And, you guys have been just keeping me company during the live premieres. But you can see here at Lowe's, we have all of these Kong Coleus plants. So you already know I love Coleus plants. For those that have been influenced to buy Coleus plants, I really hope you don't regret them, because they're very easy to take care of and they're cost effective. Like these Kong Coleus plants are only for $8. I wish they were $8. $18.88. And now I've been looking at all of these native hibiscus plants. I think that is awesome. This is the Luna hibiscus, and notice how it's got a circular form to its flowers. What a gorgeous looking hibiscus, and the pink bloom is absolutely stunning. There are a bunch of native ones as well, or these hardy hibiscus that are pretty much perennials in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or at least my grow zone, which is 8B. Those are plants that I would love to be able to grow at some point next year. And then you can see here, so Costa Farms has actually released another set of planters. I really like that a lot. And I do like that these Ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf, only for $15.88, look pretty healthy as well. My Ficus lyrata is doing amazing, and I'm hoping that at some point within a year or two, it'll really put on a lot of height and growth. Epipremnum aureum golden pothos for $14.88 in that planter. I do like the planter. The texture is okay for me, but I really just like simple planters, very smooth surfaces or matte finishes. So plant foliage, you already know I love engagement. I love hearing from you via comment section. If you have any commentary on some of these plants you've seen so far, or have any questions, please make sure to leave that in the comments. But it is a late afternoon. I got off work when I did this plant shopping video, and I just wanted to show you a quick glimpse of this Lowe's. I have visited this Lowe's several times. I would say I am in this Lowe's at least once or twice a week, checking to see if they have any restocks. And you can see that this Lowe's may not necessarily have a restock, but they always have some nice healthy looking plants. As I pan over here, you can see that they've got several plants here. This looks super full, and even if they don't have like a full on restock with different types of plants, I do like the fact that the plant merchandising at Lowe's is impeccable. I would say this Lowe's, or the majorities of Lowe's, if I were to compare Walmart and Home Depot, I would give it to Lowe's in terms of just their plant merchandising. I would say the majority of Lowe's I've gone to typically have their plants organized, especially their indoor plants. This one is very good about just merchandising their plants, and for the most part, their plants are pretty healthy. I will say there was a time when there were a lot of plants that were just put on clearance. Now, I do want to get another bromeliad, and I think this is another bromeliad I would be interested to purchase, just because look at how the coloration that it has. So you've got pink, you've got some cream variegation, and then I just love the borders of the leaves. Again, these plants look like they aren't even real. It looks like somebody just took some spray paint and spray painted some of these plants. But bromeliads, they're very endearing to me, and I do love the fact that these ones are actually in a terracotta planter. I like terracotta planters just because they just seem like they are a little bit more classic. They're more elegant, they're more traditional, and they just do very well for plants. Now, this one right here is another Costa Farms bromeliad. Notice the difference between the bromeliad that I've seen. The other bromeliad that I picked up had more darker foliage, and I love darker foliage plant, purple plants, black plants, chocolate brown plants, you name it, I love it. And those are the bromeliads that have just a lot of different types of varieties. But notice how Costa Farms has also produced a bunch of trending tropicals. So they've released a bunch of Philodendron Pink Princess again. And I love Philodendron Pink Princess. These are for $19.84. The thing about Philodendron Pink Princess is like this one right here. Notice how this one is highly variegated. The variegation of a Philodendron Pink Princess is oftentimes influenced by the plant's original genetics. So if you have a variegated Philodendron Pink Princess like this, it has a lot more variegation pretty much on every single leaf. You'll have more variegation pop up versus a Philodendron Pink Princess that doesn't have nearly as much variegation. The light doesn't necessarily influence more variegation, although I will say for any variegated plant, regardless of whether they say that it is a stable variegated plant, I would still supplement it with quite a bit of bright indirect light or a grow light. Here we have another Scindapsus Trubai Moonlight for $19.84. It's another Costa Farms trending tropical. And as I pan away over here, we've got some Dracaenas, and then we've got some Aglaonema white margin. Love the white stems on these Aglaonema, especially this one. Look at how ghostly white this is. Aglaonemas are very easy to care for plants. They're very forgiving in a sense that if you don't water them frequently or forget to water them for a long period of time, they will not decline in health as quickly as maybe a Syngonium. And then you can see right over here some Dracaena marginata. We've got some yucca cane plants, Dracaena plants, and we have some more hanging baskets right here. All the Costa Farms plants are in the indoor section of Lowe's, and I have to hand it to Costa Farms. Super thankful to have Costa Farms just be able to go source out so many different types of plants for the typical consumer like myself. And all of these hanging baskets. So if you ever go to a big box store, you'll love these for instance, these Hoyas. So this is a Hoya carnosa, Crimson Princess. This is a common Hoya you will often find at a big box store, but needless to say, it is a beautiful Hoya. I have started to get into Hoyas, but not nearly as much as I love Aglaonema. So you already know that this is a Grow Folds video, especially if I have an Aglaonema Red Siam, which we just passed by. And then we have a bunch of like Urban Jungle and Live Trends plants. So we're going to take a look at a couple. So these are Urban Jungle plants, and as you can see, this is another Silverband Maranta. These are only for $14.98. Now Silverband Maranta is a beautiful Maranta. I was able to find a very small one in a 2-inch starter planter for $2.99 at a local plant nursery called Calloways. So we'll definitely be visiting that in the next part of the video. And then we've got a dark foliage plant. So this is called a geoplant or a geonanthus. I think that's how you pronounce it. Beautiful plant. It doesn't look real. It has some unusual shape about it as well, and the leaves just look kind of crazy. I almost attribute this as almost like an oversized Hoya leaf, but it's just black. It's got a very waxy look about it. The texture of the leaves are pretty thick, almost like a succulent. And then you can see right here, this is probably going to be another favorite Dieffenbachia of mine. I don't know this Dieffenbachia particularly, like the veining and the edging of the leaves have some beautiful white veining. So if you know the plant ID for this particular Dieffenbachia by Urban Jungle, please leave that in the comments. I often ask our plant foldies and viewers to really leave comments. I really like seeing that, and I would love to see if anybody does know that plant ID. And then right over here, we have a Calathea fishbone. This one is also for $14.98 by Urban Jungle. Now with Calatheas, again, they are a lot easier to grow in a hydroponic situation. And if those that don't know what that means, hydroponics means basically growing a plant bare root in just straight water. No soil substrate, no leca, no nothing. It's just straight water. Really like the look of that. And yes, this Lowe's just always has some pretty nice looking plants. I'm going to pan around here and just see what else they have in terms of the Live Trends plants. So Live Trends has some amazing planters. You can see here we've got some Alocasia, we've got a Monstera Deliciosa, we've got a gorgeous Aglaonema Silver Bay. Gotta love an Aglaonema Silver Bay. This one is for $22.98. Another Live Trends release, and you can see right over here we've got a Homolemena Shelby, and I can say Homolemena, that is almost like a tongue twister. It is a beautiful plant. That one has more of like that velvety texture about it. And I will say for any plants that are velvety texture or fuzzy, they tend to be a little bit more susceptible to spider mites. So just make sure you are keeping track of like your plant preventative pest control. I always say if you're able to spray your plants with a preventative neem oil spray at least weekly or every 2 weeks, the tops of the leaves, the undersides of the leaves, the stems, and also the bottom of the the soil, the actual drainage holes, as well as the soil, you'll do a little bit better in terms of just preventing pests, plant pests. And that is really one of the biggest frustrations for me whenever I'm growing plants, is just the plant pest. It is a natural occurrence. I would always tell people, no matter how much plant preventative you do, it is normal to see a plant pest just make it. That's why they're called pests. But I would say stay on top of your plant preventatives if you really want to make sure your plants stay healthy. Spraying a neem oil is key. And then you can see here strawberry begonia. This is by Casa Farms Trending Tropical. This one is also for 1984. Really like the look of that. And you can see that they have a bunch of like little babies that are coming out that you can chop up and propagate and get some more plants. And then I actually want to get a croton plant, this croton gold dust here. I will say croton plants just really don't do well indoors. I've tried to grow my variegated croton plant that I bought from PlantCon in Houston, and it hasn't really done well. I really need to just bring it outside. The one I have outside though is doing phenomenal, and it is in full sun. But you can see that this is just going to be a little quick tour around this Lowe's. You know, I'm always in the Prosper Lowe's location because it is close in proximity where I am based at, and it's easily accessible. And I also would say that it doesn't have nearly as much high traffic and volume of people. So whenever I do go and see that they have a new plant restock, I don't have to be in a competition to get these plants. You know, I recently went to HEB and also Kroger grocery store, and we were able to find a bunch of some rare uncommon philodendrons like the Philodendron Florida Beauty. But I did want to go ahead and go to another Prosper, Texas location, and this is the Prosper Calloways nursery. So for those that are not familiar, I mean, if you are a plant foldy, you will know that you should be familiar with Calloways nursery. It is a chain of plant nurseries out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There are several locations, and one location I often visit would be the Calloways nursery in Prosper, Texas. I just went ahead and checked this place out, and you can see here purple Persian plant. I really love the dark foliage plants right here. This one is not a bad price at all, and I do love the fact that it's got that deep purple tone. I've got some more of these fuchsia plants right over here. Really nice looking blooms as well. Now these do very well in like a hanging basket. I don't have this in my plant collection. I would say that this would really need a lot of light as well, since it is a blooming plant. And then you've got a Proven Winners mixed container with some trailing coleus plants. So you can see this trailing coleus plant though doesn't have nearly as like small full trailing leaves as some of the other trailing coleus plants. Some of the trailing coleus plants tend to be a little bit more of a dwarf size. And then we have some more of these beautiful purple lavender blooming plants. So I like this one a lot as well. This one is a Mona Lavender, and you can see right over here it has that green silvery foliage at the top, but the purple foliage on the bottom on the undersides. That is a nice color. We've got some Mandevilla flowers here on a trellis for $24.99. I will say that is slightly pricey considering you can get a really big size Mandevilla at a big box store. But again, that goes to show that sometimes big box stores are a little bit more cost effective than the local plant nursery. But you know, Calloways, they just have some amazing plants. I don't mind spending a little bit more money on Calloways plants, and they have such a good return policy. So for instance, if you are part of their garden rewards membership, where you just put your phone number in, you get points to where you can actually get you know, some coupons. But the more important thing is, if you buy a plant at Calloways and you need to do a return, as long as you bring the dead plant or the plant that just didn't do well for you, or if you're not satisfied with it, with the original planter and the scannable label, you are able to return the plant even with your phone number. So I like that a lot. I feel like that's what makes Callaway plants a little bit more worthwhile, just because they are a little bit more pricey, but you don't have to feel like you wasted money if a plant doesn't do well. They will take that return, or at least in my experience and currently from this you know, video's publication. But you can see right over here, we've got some more Swedish ivy. So I've got two different types of Swedish ivy. I have the Swedish ivy white edge, which has done extremely well for me. And I also have the Swedish ivy guacamole, which has more of that green on green variegation. Surprisingly, I found that at an HEB grocery store. But you can see these are the English ivy that have like just the burgundy undersides. It's a fast growing plant. And then right over here, we've got a Hedera. Actually, this is not a Hedera Helix. That is a Algerian ivy. So it is similar to English ivy. Now, plant foldies are English ivies just as susceptible to spider mites as in English ivy? Please leave that in the comments. I am curious. Now, when you think about ivy, though, I also just really wanted to go back and take a look at these Swedish ivy. I think Swedish ivy are easy. They are grown as ground covers, but they can be on a trailing hanging basket. They can be grown indoors. You know, I have been doing a lot of recent plant shopping videos where I take plants that are, you know, typically grown outdoors and attempt to grow them indoors. And some of them have done very well. You know, these are plants that, you know, you just would find unconventional as far as a house plant. So these ones are for $5.99, and wow, those roots really look nice. These are polka dot plants. If you love pink plants, polka dot plants do have quite a bit of pink coloration. The only problem is polka dot plants are a finicky plant. Like, they look beautiful now, but they're as deceiving as maybe like a calathea, where they look beautiful. The foliage is great at a local nursery or like a big box store, but give it like 2 to 3 weeks. If you don't give them the optimal care tips, such as higher humidity, keeping their soil a little bit more moist, they will decline in health very quickly and start to crisp up. Now, this is some type of Ficus repens over here. What a beautiful looking ficus plant. So they have the variegated form, which is what they call the Balus ficus, and that is actually offered by Costa Farms Exotic Angels Hanging Basket, but that's just the green variety. But as I pan by over here on this late afternoon at the Calloways in Prosper, you can see that they've got a bunch of Hedera Helix. Now, these Hedera Helix, so for those that are actually watching my video for the first time, I purposely mispronounce Hedera Helix or English ivy as Hedera Helix. It is I guess a small running inside joke by the plant folding community on Grow Folds, because for the longest time, whenever I started doing my plant shopping videos early, I didn't realize I was mispronouncing that word. It kind of caught on with some of the plant foldies. Now, I will say it's not for everybody. I have been given feedback that, you know, Hedera Helix or Hedera Helix was a little cringy, but I don't know. I just kind of enjoy it, and it's just kind of gives my channel just a little bit more of a personalized you know, feel about it. I have toned it down slightly for those that gave me a little bit of feedback, but it's something that I will definitely keep on the my videos. So plant foldies, let me know what you think about some of these plants you've seen so far. What do you think about Hedera Helix? Okay, I really will stop because I know some of you guys are not about that. I mean, some of you guys have explicitly told me you have to mute the video for it, and I'm okay with that. You know, whenever you do content on YouTube or even in a public social setting, not everybody is going to like the content that you provide. But for me, and even talking to some really loyal plant foldies, it is really important for me to stay my most authentic self. You know, I don't necessarily write a script. I don't have some storyboard like some of the other YouTubers out there. I really just like to film a bunch of plants, admire them, and it's really funny because I'll pick up plants and literally I'm taking a look at this Tradescantia velvet, for instance, but I'm just take my video that I film and then I do my voiceover, and I pretty much utilize these plant shopping videos as almost like a personal blog, just to give you my plant insight. So for those that want to learn about plants, I will definitely talk about plant care, plant tips, plant pricing, you name it. It is going to be on my Grow Folds channel. But you can see there were 3 different types of Tradescantia, and then we also have this right here. This is a Calesia repens. So it is similar to a Tradescantia. They've got the variegated form as well, where it has like pink and white variegation. This tends to be more of like a green variegate, just like a green type of plant. This is a plant though that will easily become very leggy. So this is a plant that you have to constantly cut back in order for it to really maintain and keep its like bushiness. Otherwise, it'll get very just leggy. Same thing with this trade Scanthia Sabrina. I believe this is the Sabrina, or the Burgundy. Now, all of these plants right here, these planters are only for $2.49. So that's the thing about local plant nurseries like Calloways. You will get the best value at times for the diversity of plants that they offer. But as you can see right here, this is another trade Scanthia, and this one is even more purple. Gotta love that look on the leaves. These leaves are absolutely stunning. And let's see how much this costs right here. That is not a bad price at all. And this plant is, what Costa Farms Exotic Angels will label it is a plant that's fun to share. What that means is you can actually take cuttings, a bunch of cuttings from this one, put it in water, and it will root, and you can actually give them as free gifts to friends. I talk about how you could save money on plants. I always say look for plants that are cost effective. So like I'm even looking at some of these plants right here. These ornamental grasses are really nice, but you can look at places like Facebook Marketplace to find plants. A big box store obviously is a good place to look for plants if you want to be more cost effective. You can ask people that have cuttings that you can share and trade, and you can just make more plants from the current plant collection that you have. Now, I will say these oxalis are beautiful. I do love that purple foliage right here. One person that really has influenced me, and I watch a lot of like plant YouTubers, the Sydney plant guy, he has an awesome looking oxalis plant. And so you can grow oxalis plant in a indoor setting. I will say that you have to watch for it, especially in the winter. You have to give it a little bit more bright light, a little bit warmer condition, otherwise it will go dormant. Now, in my grow zone, which is 8B in North Dallas, that's where I'm based at, you can grow oxalis as a ground cover, and it is a perennial. I've seen my oxalis come back year after year. So there was this like small oxalis volunteer that just started to grow in my landscape, and every year it gets larger and wider and spreads. That it's just really cool, and that's something that brings me a lot of joy, just to see some of these volunteer plants just pop up in a landscape or even in one of your like indoor plants. But you can see here, hanging basket again of another cactus. So like, I think that it's really cool. These are peanut cactus, and these peanut cactus actually produce some beautiful blooms. I've seen blooms that are pink, and I've seen yellow blooms as well. And you can see right here, Calloways also has a great assortment of succulents. This is the golden barrel. So this is one that I would see often. And this one actually has some really prickly needles. So that's the thing, they actually have little tongs here to be able to pick up these plants. I find that interesting as well. And I don't have any current true prickly cactus or anything in my houseplant collection. I do have a prickly pear, which is growing on the side of my house. I'm facing the east, and it is in my landscape. It is a cactus that can tolerate even freezes out in Texas. So I think that that's super interesting. The one thing I like about cactus as well, whenever I'm just looking at them, is just the diversity of textures, shapes, colors, forms. There's just many different types of cactus. There's cactus that have very fuzzy like needles. There's cactus that are extremely pointy. So it's something, whenever you talk about plants, just going into a different realm of plant collecting, once you get into it, I always feel like once you get into it, you get addicted, and I am addicted to plants. And that's the reason why, like, I just get into all sorts of plants, whether it's like outdoor trees, outdoor gardening, outdoor landscape, bonsai, Japanese maples, indoor tropical plants, you name it. If it's a plant, I will find some appreciation for it. Even these red bud trees right over here, I really like how they are cascading and weeping. And that's a common tree that's grown in landscapes out in North Dallas. And then when I pan around here, you can even see that they've got a bunch of ground cover. So this is a periwinkle or a vinca vine. And then I have been looking at Asiatic jasmine. This one right over here actually has the variegation. This one is some type of snow Asiatic jasmine. I didn't realize that Asiatic jasmine really become woody as it matures. I am wanting to buy a variegated Asiatic jasmine tricolor where it literally has like variegation of creams, pinks, whites. It's really beautiful. And that's another place. I found it at Home Depot, and it was only for like $5.98. So that's a plant, another example of a plant that's really meant to grow outdoors as a ground cover, but it's a plant that I want to grow in like a basket and let it just trail down. So plant foliage, let me know what you think about, taking certain plants, outdoor plants that are meant to grow outdoors as indoor house plants. I often show you guys this, and I don't know why I like these ajuga. These are all for $2.99. You can see this is an ajuga chocolate chip. Really cool looking plant. Some people will say that looks like an herb, that looks like a vegetable plant. I've been told that you can actually eat this. Again, do your research first before you go start eating ajuga plants. But you can see here, I am drawn to this one because I love dark foliage plants. Now ajuga, what makes them really interesting is you can actually grow them in a variety of different lighting conditions. I have 2 variegated ajuga that I bought from like Walmart and Lowe's, and they're doing extremely well in a 6-inch planter, but I grow them in full sun and they're doing extremely well. So that's the thing about certain plants. I just love having, a variety of like light tolerance for certain plants that makes them easier to grow. But this is that variegated ajuga that I was talking about. Sometimes I'll see one that just has some beautiful lavender, purple, and pink variegation. Plant foliage, if you run into this variegated ajuga, I would challenge you guys to maybe possibly consider growing them in your houseplant collection. Let me know how that goes for you, because mine are doing really well. I may end up buying even more, even though these plants start to trail and spread. And, some people will even say that these plants are a little bit more invasive if you just let them grow in a landscape. And then over here, we've got some more Hedera Helix. Now this Hedera Helix has a little bit more of a different texture to the leaves. I will say that I have been wanting to get another Hedera Helix to grow in my plant collection, though, even though it's quite difficult to grow. And I think what makes Hedera Helix difficult for me to grow is I don't really water my plants as often as I should be. And so whenever I let it just get bone dry, and especially if it's in a dry condition, it will end up getting spider bites, and that's what is the demise for my English ivy. You can see here, though, we have some hosta plants here that are in bloom. So I love the look of hosta plants. Hosta plants have some really nice variegation. I also like the texture of the leaves. There's some ruffling going on with the leaves, but I've never really seen hosta plants in bloom. And that's the thing about certain plants. Like if you let them bloom, especially if you are growing them as a foliage plant or really more for the leaves, having bloom stay on the plant, though, will stunt its growth. So having blooms, it really requires the plant to use a lot of energy. The plant actually focuses on its energy into producing a bloom. So whenever you see blooms, unless you just want the plant to be like more stunted, cut them off. But for these hosta plants, lots of different varieties. You can see that these are in bloom, and blooms also indicate the fact that the plant is actually in a good space. It's pretty healthy for for it to be able to have those right conditions. Now this hosta right here, I do really like the look of it, just because it almost looks like an aglaonema. I don't know if you're getting that, but like an aglaonema, and it's another plant that I would definitely grow in my houseplant collection. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's a plant that everybody should add into their collection, whether it is a household plant or a plant you can put in your landscape. Now with hosta plants, though, plant foliage, you definitely need to put them in a shaded area versus full sun. They will not do well in full sun. Now all of these vegetable starters, all of these tomatoes, for instance, all of these are for 50% off. They've got a bunch of peppers here, and I love the look of that. Like, look at this right over here. We got them all for 50% off. I did get some grower boxes to be able to grow a couple of vegetables later in the season, but you can see here they've got some ghost peppers. I might actually grow some ghost peppers. I've heard that they are extremely spicy, and for the longest time I didn't really have a lot of spice tolerant, but then I started eating more spicy foods back in 2017, and now I enjoy spicy foods. But back then, before that, I used to just not have any tolerance for spicy food. So plant foldies, for those that like spicy food, what spicy food do you like? I love learning more about you guys. I love knowing where you guys are from. So just leave that in the comments. I asked in my last video to go ahead and let me know where you're based at, just to see and get a feel for who is actually watching my videos. Obviously, like, YouTube gives me analytics. I would say 70% of my plant foldie community or viewers comes from the United States, and then the rest come from Canada and also India. So shout out to my Canadian plant foldies and also my Indian plant foldies. Thank you for tuning in. I've been doing a lot of like plant shopping videos, and it's just really fun to see that our plant community is steadily growing. I wanted to also highlight this right here. So this one is also for a fairly decent price. Aglaonema red siam, it is a common aglaonema, but this one has several plants in it. And this is a common aglaonema. It's really a toss-up between an aglaonema red siam or an aglaonema silver bay, on which plant is a little bit more common. I would say they're both equally common, but they're both equally beautiful. Now this one is another aglaonema. This is an aglaonema pink, or that's what it is labeled as. This one is for $24.99. So some of these aglaonemas are a little bit more pricey. I would say that's the only drawback when it comes to certain aglaonema, that they're a little bit more pricey, but they are absolutely gorgeous. Really, really easy to care for plant. It is a plant that I would recommend for anybody that's starting to grow indoor plants. You can see right over here, this one is for $16.99. This is a beautiful aglaonema golden Madonna. Aglaonema golden Madonna has a lot of things going on with it. I love the fact that it has white stems, white variegation. It's really beautiful. And then with these pinker, these pink aglaonemas, especially with the pink stems and just the pink foliage, you do want to make sure you're providing it with a little bit more bright indirect light. It does well with that, and it also gives you better coloration. You'll see more of the pinks come out. And then over here, we've got a bunch of syngoniums. I love syngoniums. They are a fast grower. They are a plant that is really more reminiscent of my childhood. My first indoor tropical plant ever was a syngonium white butterfly. I grew it actually indoors in the bathroom, and the bathroom didn't actually have a window, but for some reason it still was able to grow. It actually didn't get as leggy. That's the thing about these syngoniums, and these are for $29.99. That's another beautiful but common syngonium. What I like about syngoniums though is they are very vigorous growers, so they are fast growing. There's certain varieties that are not, but for the most part, most syngoniums grow very well. And you can see that this is deceiving. So it's that was actually a caladium right next to the syngoniums. They have a similar triangular arrowhead look about them. And you can see here, this is some type of syngonium illusion. That's all I really know. I do like that it's got more of a neon green color, and then it's also got some subtle red variegation or red veining on it as well. So again, there's a lot of different types of varieties of syngoniums. Syngoniums are pretty much synonymous to like the common house plant, but there are some rare and uncommon syngoniums. The only thing is, I would not pay that much for a syngonium, even if it's an uncommon or rare one, because it's an easy to propagate plant. So, as numbers become more readily available, the plant pricing, especially for some rare syngoniums, kind of decreases. Now, there are a couple of plants that are still stable in terms of just holding its price. I noticed that even with the Florida Beauty, it's still pretty pricey. But these are plants right here that I'm showing you. These Dracaena, for instance, these large Dracaena, these are so underrated. It is a little bit disappointing that people are not wanting to just collect all of these Dracaenas. I totally get it if you don't want to buy these large Dracaenas, because they do take up quite a bit of space. But you talk about taking quite a bit of space. I haven't seen this, and I think this is really cool. This is some type of Epipremnum pinnatum, and you can see that they have gotten this Epipremnum pinnatum to grow up a pole, and you can see that the leaves have fenestrated. You can see that there's holes in the leaves. You can see that this is an Epipremnum pinnatum that is actually very much more so mature and established. And that's the thing about plants. Like, we can buy a bunch of starter plants, but what's even more amazing is when you can grow a plant and see that it's, you know, grew into something like this. This is one of those plants. It's a statement piece. And then I've noticed that they are growing this Thai constellation, Monstera Thai constellation, in this pot. Now this Monstera Thai constellation, I believe, was $79.99, but it looks like the staff is trying to get that a little bit larger. And you talk about a large plant, this is a statement piece plant. This is Monstera Gold. That is a Monstera Deliciosa. It's huge. And you can see how beautiful these yellow Dracaena are. You know, I love yellow plants. Neon plants are amazing, as well as these Monstera Deliciosas right here. This one is just one giant one, on right next to this yellow foliage of a Dracaena. Really like that a lot. You can see that the Monstera Deliciosa, that big massive one, has really attached its aerial roots on that support. And then you can see over here we've got a beautiful bromeliad. Now these bromeliads are not a bad price at all. I don't really prefer these bromeliads. I prefer the bromeliads that have more like leaf coloration versus just these plain blooms. And then you can see right here we've got a bunch of tiny plants. So I did a reel for you know, featuring Costa Farms tiny plants, and I'm so thankful that Costa Farms Instagram actually featured my my reel about tiny plants. And you can see that these are tiny plants as well. These ones are you know, it depends on some of the pricing. Some of the pricing are a little bit higher, but for the most part you can get most of these starter plants for only $2.99, and I am loving it. Like, I always loved this strawberry variegated begonia. That one is actually a really nice looking plant right here. It's actually not a, I'm sorry, it's not a, is it a begonia? No, it's not. Yes, it is a strawberry begonia. I am so sorry. I thought it was a peperomium. It is a begonia. And then this is some type of variegated plant that the plant ID escapes my mind. So I'm not 100% sure. I think that is an alternatera, but I could be wrong. And then you can just see right here, there are just so many other starter plants. And here is a plant find. Wow. So I was talking about the Silverband Maranta. This is only for $2.99 in a 2-inch planter, but it's already fairly large, and that is a really good deal. That's the thing about plant shopping. You never know what plants you're going to run into, what surprises you're going to get into. So plant foldies, let me know about your current plant that finds that you get. But this Silverband Maranta for $2.99, that is actually a really good deal. I don't mind adding a Maranta because I've heard that Marantas and Thenanthes are a little bit more forgiving versus a Calathea. But as I pan away, they've got a little bit of tiny plants here. They've got some huge ferns. Ferns are everywhere, so I'm not really going to take the time to really feature that. And then this one right here is a variegated golden dragon. That's really cool. Look at that. And then you can just see that this has just so many aerial roots that you can chop this up into many pieces. Now, I wouldn't do that because it's gotten such a beautiful form. This plant probably took quite a bit of time to actually grow into what I would call as a specimen piece plant. This is definitely not a plant that you would just go to like a store and say, I want to buy that large plant. I think it's more of a collector's plant, but you know, correct me if I'm wrong. Some of us may just be interested in the plant and, you know, may not even realize that it is either uncommon, challenging to grow, or both. That's the reason why it's very important for me to just really take the time to show you plant foldies, all of the plants that I run into on a daily basis in terms of just the plant shopping. You can see right here, this is a Philodendron Goldii for $19.99. It almost reminds me of a Syngonium, especially a Syngonium that's matured because it gets those trilobes. And here we have some Monstera Deliciosa right here. This is just a common green form. This one is for $9.99 in a 4-inch planter. And these juvenile form ones have beautiful heart-shaped leaves. Now, you'll probably get 3 to 4 or even more plants in this one planter. So you can either separate it into several different Monsteras, or you can try to grow them all together in a one big pot eventually. And then here for $14.99 is a Monstera Peru. Love that green texture on the leaves. Beautiful plant. This is another plant that really needs to be grown more so up a pole or a plank, somewhere of that nature. It's a plant that wants to climb, although you can grow that as a trailing hanging basket as well. The thing about plants that are grown as a trailing hanging basket is their leaves become smaller and smaller as it trails down. You can see here we've got a Monstera Thai constellation. This one is for $79.99 in a 6-inch planter. And for those that are interested in another plant giveaway on my Instagram, I will be giving a free variegated Philodendron domesticanum. So just stay tuned for that. If you don't have Instagram, I would recommend, maybe creating an Instagram account, so that way you can connect with other plant foldies. There's quite a bit of plant foldies on Instagram. I have yet to really make the Facebook page for grow folds, but I am working on that. Now this one is labeled as a Philodendron Ring of Fire. It doesn't really have that Philodendron Ring of Fire. I believe that this one is more so like Philodendron Golden Crocodile. I could be wrong, but that one is for $19.99. So it's not a bad price at all. That's the thing about Calloways nursery. You will get some really cool looking philodendron for some fair prices. Here is a Philodendron Summer Glory. So this is one that I will definitely purchase. So this is for $19.99. But at the time I filmed this video, Calloways Nursery actually had a nice sale for one item you can actually get for 30% off. So I have been eyeing this Philodendron Summer Glory, and now that it's 30% off, I'm definitely gonna buy it. There's a couple to pick from, but you can see right here, I think I may end up getting this one just because it's got some more larger leaves. The plant looks pretty healthy. Now it does have a little bit of hard watering on its far left. That's not some type of plant pest. That's literally just hard water. But that would be a plant that, whenever I bring it into my home, I would still spray it down with some of my neem oil DIY spray. I call it the plant foldy mix. It's a really good mixture of like rubbing alcohol, hydrogen peroxide, cold pressed neem oil, and dishwashing soap. Just a drop of that in a water bottle, and it just does wonders for my plants. It makes them super shiny. Now here is a Hoya publicaix right here on a trellis. This one looks super healthy for $29.99. I do want to grow some more Hoya plants, and what I do love about Hoya plants is Hoya plants are super forgiving when it comes to underwatering. Like literally, I didn't water my Hoya Carnosa Crimson Princess for a month, and while the leaves kind of I wouldn't say shriveled, but they got thinner after a day of and letting them watering them, and then after a day they ended up just bouncing back and getting super rubbery and thick again. Here is a beautiful caladium here. I do like this caladium. Look at how red the foliage is. I like that it has a very pronounced green border on its leaves. And then you can see right here, Philodendron Hederaceum Brazils. These are for $16.99, I believe. Let's see. Yep, $16.99. And you can see that this one is highly variegated. It's almost like a Philodendron lemon lime or Philodendron neon, however you want to call it. But this philodendron's variegation or coloration is really more so influenced by the amount of light it receives. And you can see here, plant foldies, we've got a bunch of Phalaenopsis orchids. I really like the look of Phalaenopsis orchids. I should add more to my collection, but for now, I do only have one Phalaenopsis orchid, and that is the variegated form. You can see here they've got another statement for like a patio chill area. You can see just all the greenery around it, and notice that these plants still have the same impact as a plant that may be variegated. It was just a really nice looking site. And then you can see right over here, we've got a bunch of Phalaenopsis orchids. Really like that as well. And I love the fact that Calloways Nursery, if one Calloways Nursery has a specific plant, another one will. And you can see here, we've got another variegated orchid. Beautiful one. These are for $24.99. I really like the edges of the leaf just because it has that yellow border. And you know what happens with Phalaenopsis orchids is there's really not a lot of interest on the leaves after the blooms die. And typically blooms on a Phalaenopsis orchid will last about a month and a half, just really depending on the plant and then just the environment it's in. But what I do like is for this particular variegated Phalaenopsis orchid, there's just more leaf interest with the variegation, and it's one that, you know, when your orchid's not in bloom, there's still some interest around just the foliage. And you can see right here a bunch of starters of variegated African violet. I may end up getting one of these. These ones are for $6.99, so that's not bad at all. And the thing about it is, you know, African violet grow pretty quickly as well. I'm surprised that my African violet that's got green on green variegation has really pushed out a bunch of new leaves, and it's actually reblooming. You can see here, even with the Hoya publicatus, how all of their, you know, their vines started to kind of get all tangled up together. But you can see this one right here is a Philodendron Summer Glory. So plant foldies, what do you think about that Philodendron Summer Glory? Is it gorgeous? I definitely bought it for 30% off when I filmed this video. And you can see right here, Monstera Thai Constellation in a 4-inch planter for $59.99. Part of me really wishes I should have bought even more Monstera Thai Constellations when they were available at Kroger for a 4-inch planter for only $29.99. That was probably the best rare plant find that I found at a grocery store for such a good price. I mean, currently Kroger grocery store has a bunch of Philodendron squamifera for only $19.99. So definitely check out my last 2 plant shopping videos at grocery stores. You'll see that I was able to find some rare plants or rare philodendron. I say rare, but what is really rare these days, when a lot of these philodendron that used to be rare and really hard to find and were costing hundreds of dollars, you can now find them at big box stores or plant nurseries, or even a local grocery store as you're doing your grocery shopping. But I will say that a lot of times whenever I go to a grocery store, I don't end up actually looking for groceries. I end up looking more for plants. And you can see here, though, as we looked at all of these different types of alocasia, that's an alocasia which the plant ID kind of escapes my mind. I'm not really sure. But this one right here is an alocasia lowrider for $14.99. Alocasias, I would just tell you, my biggest advice is rather than to grow them indoors, grow them outdoors in an outdoor patio that's shaded, that gets like morning light, and it will just do just fine, and it will actually get fairly large during the growing season. But you can see here hanging baskets as well. And then the thing is, Calloways Nursery at the time I filmed this was also doing a sale for hanging baskets, 30% off. But as you can see here, I do like looking at the garden accents section, and apparently every single plant that I'm gonna grab up here, like this variegated Swedish ivy white edge, is 50% off. And these are not a bad price at all. Now these are, I believe, $4.99, but 50% off is not a bad price. I may end up just getting another one of these because I just love it. It's such an easy plant. It is definitely a plant that can grow indoors. And then right over here we have another Swedish ivy white edge. What a beautiful looking white edge Swedish ivy. Mine is doing extremely well. It's about ready for me to take cuttings and propagate it in water. And then here is a Hedera Helix. And with this being 50% off, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and buy this Hedera Helix. So plant foldies, I know this is going to be number 15 for my English ivy, but you've got to just let me get the credit that I am determined, I am passionate, I am just in love with the Hedera Helix. Don't know really why. I try to justify it and say it's because of the leaf shape. It reminds me of Japanese maples, but for some reason I just want to grow an English ivy. I will be not growing my English ivy though indoors, just because all of my Hedera Helix, like this one right here, it's got a really cool looking one, rounder leaves, have not done well indoors. So we're gonna see if I can grow an English ivy outdoors. We'll see if it'll push out more leaves quickly, whether it'll be like a vigorous plant, or whether it's still just going to be a challenging plant and we'll still get like, you know, spider mites. But we'll see. That is only for 50% off, so I am going to definitely buy that today. And that's the thing, whenever I go plant shopping, I try to have a budget, or sometimes I just try to not even buy plants. But it is so difficult, plant foldies, and I think you can actually relate to me when I say that whenever you go plant shopping, it's very difficult to just do window plant shopping. But you can see here, Calloways just has rows and rows of beautiful caladiums, and even in the background, tons of coleus plants. here, beautiful coleus, I say coleus, caladium, sorry, caladium plant here. Now these ones I believe are for $2.99. Beautiful coleus, I keep saying coleus, beautiful caladium plant right here. I like that as well, just because it has a lot more of that pink coloration. Really nice looking caladium. And then I also like these caladiums with the lighter colors. These white caladiums are really nice. With white caladiums, or just caladiums in general, you have to make sure that you are putting these in a shaded area. Look at all that pink right here, for instance. Now this one is for $14.99. All of these caladiums are in a 6-inch planter. Beautiful looking caladium. You can see that the leaves are almost translucent, which makes this plant easily a plant that would easily burn in full sun. So definitely be cautious about that. People have been growing caladiums indoors. I might get one caladium, like a small one, in order to just grow those indoors. I did buy some, but they're still currently outdoors. Now this is a caladium I would love to add to my collection, just because I do like the coloration of the leaves. Very interesting looking caladium. I don't know this caladium name. What I do know is this one is for $14.99 as well. That is not a bad price at all. And look at the size of the caladiums. You know, caladiums are what I call the more colorful alocasia or colocasia. They're just so gorgeous, and there's always going to be that constant hybridization of caladiums. Like right over here, look at this beautiful planter full of caladiums. These caladiums here just really would light up a darker space in a shaded garden. And that's the thing I like about caladiums. They are perennials for the most part. They will return back year after year after year, especially if you do not rot the bulb. So like once a caladium has died back in the fall or winter, you don't want to get that soil wet often, because then it'll just rot the bulb and it won't come back. And then over here, we've got a beautiful spring cactus. Love that as well in a hanging basket. But I just can't help myself in terms of just admiring caladiums. Now, some people have given me feedback that they're not really interested in caladiums, but how could you not be? Like, look at this, look at that, how it's translucent. You can even see my hand behind that beautiful pink caladium leaf. That is another caladium I would love to add into my collection. And then as I pan away, you can see how beautiful this Calloways nursery is. Will I say that this Calloways nursery is one of the larger ones? No, but Prosper Calloways nursery has super friendly staff, and they just have really nice plants. I will say that they tend to keep their coleus selection even more full. So I'm going to pan away from that and show you all of these coleus plants. You can see this beautiful coleus plant right here with the yellow serrated borders, and then this one as well. I love the look of this coleus plant. I've actually been looking at this one. This is the only one I don't really have. Now I bought a smaller version of it from Lowe's. It looks similar to it, but look at how large the leaves are. Those ones are, I believe, for $34.99, the big basket full of coleus plant. But you can see that they have so many different varieties. And for those that don't know about coleus plants, but then again, if you have been watching my plant shopping videos, I feature this often. I love coleus plants, and you can see why. There's just many different varieties here. The one on the very right is a coleus campfire. I bought one of those at Walmart, and it has gotten that large for only $5.89. I believe that's how much it was. And then we have this coleus plant right here. I got one of these, and I was able to get a lot of free plants. And then you can see right here, this one has a little piece that fell off, and so what I would do with that little piece is stick it back into soil, and it should root. Coleus plants, they're so easy to propagate. Like literally you can take a piece of any part of the stem or whatnot and just stick it into water. Although I will say growing coleus plants directly into soil is probably best, because then you just skip the process of having to water actually having to water propagate it, because they do root very easily. Now again, with coleus plants, they do come in many different sizes. Notice how this one is a trailing one. I think this is the wedding train coleus plant. I bought one of these as well, just because I wanted different varieties of coleus plants, different ways of how they grow their growth habits. So that one is a trailing one. It likes to cascade or spread versus growing upward. And then you can see here, this one, I believe, is a sun coleus. So this one can take full sun or a lot of sun. This one is one of the Main Street coleus plants as well. So, you know, Main Street is a set of coleus that are really are really named after specific streets. And then you can see right over here, we've just got a bunch of coleus starters. So these ones, like I have this one right here. This one is one that needs to be grown more so in a shaded area. This one is not a sun coleus. I prefer coleus that can take full sun. A lot of the proven winner hybrids are sun coleus, which makes them a little bit more versatile in growing them in different type of growing conditions as far as lighting. But you can see here, as I spin around, they've got even more coleus plants. Like this is one of my favorite ones. This is the coleus wasabi. I have one of these. I ended up getting a quart size like this one, and it has grown so large. I really need to cut it back. And then I have this one as well. This one is a sun coleus. Look at how beautiful that coloration is. You can see how the new growth comes out more so green, and it becomes more of a rusty orange tone about it. And as I pan away, you can see that they even have more coleus plants here. This is another coleus plant that I believe is a sun coleus. So you can actually grow this in full sun as well. All of the ones in these pots are $12.99. And one of my favorite coleus plants, this is the Electrify Lime, I believe. Yep. Electric Lime. Look at the variegation on this one. Look at that veining. What a beautiful coleus plant. And I love that neon color, that yellow also. It's just a beautiful coleus plant, and it's one that I would definitely grow in, you know, my collection. I am currently growing in my collection. And you can see the larger version right here are the Kong coleus. So these ones right here are also for $12.99. You notice how large the leaves are. Look at that. That is huge, and it will even get larger as time passes by. And then you can see here, this is a proven winners hybrid called the Wicked Witch. That's a really cool looking one. And then obviously the Coleus Campfire, beautiful plant. And then we have this one right here. That's a mixed pot of different type of coleus plant. I like the coleus on the left though, that mosaic look about it. And then as I walk past the coleus plant, we have a bunch of spring cactus. What a nice looking spring cactus right over here. Really like the blooms on it. And then obviously these kalanchoe. Now I think of all the kalanchoe blooms, I prefer this pink bloom right here. Pink flowers are really nice. They always remind me of like cherry blossoms. So I like pink flowers, I like white flowers, and I like red flowers. Those are really nice. But then again, I just like blooming plants. Notice how they Calloways does have some little, I think, is it 6 packs of little not coleus. I see, you can tell that I'm thinking about coleus. Those are kalanchoe. Sorry, those are kalanchoe. But you can see we can also have some more plants right over here. Now these are calocasia. This is the calocasia mojito. Beautiful looking calocasia here. I do like that variegation. And then they also have the white lava calocasia. I'm actually tempted to buy these just because these are 50% off, and you know, that would be cool to grow. Now as far as growing calocasia indoors, has anybody really successfully grown calocasia indoors, or is it a plant that you really have to grow outdoors? I know people grow alocasia indoors, but how about calocasia? So please leave that in the comments, plant folies, and let me know. This is a good value though for 50% off. I really like that. And you can see that these calocasia, I mean, they are a perennial. They will grow back year after year. But you can see right here, that is probably my favorite one out of all the bunch. And then also the white lava. They have some really cool calocasia varieties. Like they've got one that's called the Pharaoh's Mask. It's really cool as well. So I like that a lot. You can see right here, these are the cornerstone plants, but you can see this is a beautiful white lava calocasia with a new growth point coming out. Should I buy this calocasia? I don't know, but let me know in the comments. You know, I have been spending quite a bit of money on some plants, but I cannot help it, especially since I am doing all of these plant shopping videos. I really enjoy it. And again, for those plant foldies that have taken the time to watch my marathon plant shopping videos, that was like a close to 4-hour marathon of many locations, many episodes of my plant shopping videos. Thank you so much. And then for those that have taken the time to just leave comments on my videos, that helps a lot. And I've noticed that a lot more people are hitting the like button. If you made it this far, please hit the like button. That does help with my channel's engagement. These videos will get pushed out to even more plant lovers like yourself. And it's always nice to see the plant folding community grow. We are so close to getting to 10,000 subscribers. I would absolutely love it. But as you can see here, we still have plenty of plants to look at. This one right here is a straw flower. I like this the look at straw flowers. I didn't realize that even if you do cut them back, the flowers will eventually fade. It's not going to be as bright of a color. But you can see here, these are those flowering maples. So I have the orange and red variety. I do not have the yellow one, so I may want to get the yellow one. Very easy plant to take care of. They are a little bit thirsty, so you just need to make sure you stay on top of the watering. They can be grown indoors. And then you can see right over here, we've got a bunch of other plants outdoors. I did want to go to the one area specifically, and that is the Hedera or the Japanese Aralia, just to see if they have the spider's web one, and it looks like they do. So this one is a spider's web Japanese Aralia. Now, this one isn't as nearly as variegated as some of the other ones. I want to add that to my collection. I do like the look of a Hedera. That is one plant that I will eventually buy. I most likely will buy it at Green Acres out in Melissa, Texas. So if you haven't seen that plant shopping video, definitely check it out. It is a huge plant nursery that they just opened out in Melissa, Texas. And for those that are just tuning in, I am based in North Dallas, so the majority of my plant locations whenever I do plant shopping videos are going to be in the North Dallas area. Although I do have a plant tourism playlist. If you haven't gotten a chance to watch that, those are plant nurseries that are seen outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I featured a lot of like Austin, Texas plant nurseries, as well as Houston, Texas. And then you can see here, I actually have this Coleus plant. This is the Festive Dancer. It actually gets very large leaves. I really like the orange look on it. It almost reminds me of like an orange goldfish. And then we just have a bunch of annuals available right here. These are different annuals that you can pick and choose from. Now, these ones are for $9.99. Slightly pricey, but you get a different type of variety of annuals. I won't really be growing a lot of annuals just because I want to have plants that will grow year after year. And annuals, you have to actually replant them. They will die off once the season is over. And then over here, we've got the Dahlia. Now, that's a perennial. And then we have the All-Stars annuals here. Now, these ones are really cool. I have a bunch of these begonias. These begonias right here, and these are all for 30% off. Now, these I believe are for $4.99, so these are 30% off, as well as the flamethrower series of Coleus plants. Notice that they just have many different varieties, and again, these are 30% off. Now, one plant that I want to get, and I think I'm going to end up getting another one, are these Alternanthera. I think that's how you pronounce it. Look at this one right here. This is the Little Ruby. So I think I'm going to get that since it is 30% off. I do like the dark foliage on it. That would be one that I am going to grow in full sun since it likes a lot of light. And I may get some other plants as well. But look at this Rex begonia. This one has more of a caramel tan look about it. So I don't know if it's just sun stressed or if that's really the look of the plant. Beautiful looking begonia Rex. And again, these are for $16.99. So if you want a larger begonia Rex, you can go to Calloways. You don't really see these size begonia Rex out at a big box store. They are beautiful. Like, look at how large this leaf is, and that is stunning. Now, if these were on sale for a little bit less, I would definitely buy it. The only reason why I don't really buy these Rex begonia is it's a little pricey for my price point for that particular plant. But I am also probably going to buy another Swedish white edge. That is a beautiful one since it's only 30% off. That's a really good deal. But you can see here we've just got tons and tons of wax begonia, and then this table is full of different types of hybrids of proven winners. This one is one that I already have, this coleus plant right here, but then this one is one that I'm going to buy as well today since I don't have it. That is a coleus lime time by proven winners, and you can see proven winners has all of these heart to heart caladium series, beautiful hybrids by proven winners. And you know, proven winners are high quality plants. I would say they're priced accordingly. I do agree with some of their pricing. It's not that expensive, but then you're also getting a healthy plant. And again, we started out with this purple Persian shield. What a beautiful looking plant. It's one that I want to add to my collection again. I have one that's not doing as well, but I'm willing to pick that up again just because I love how purple it is. And then as you can see right over here, we just have a row of all sorts of types of plants. And this is a place where I like to go to. I like to go to Calloways and really feature these just because of all the beautiful flowers and plants that they have available. Got these beautiful zinnia, for instance. Those are the dwarf varieties, are super cute, and these are only for $2.49. And notice how they just have so many beautiful plants. I will never get tired of showing you Callaway's nursery, all the different locations, especially the Prosper location one. So hopefully, plant foliage, you don't get tired of it as well, because there are so many different plants. And while those plants that I show you may be the same plants we've seen the previous video or all of the other videos in the past, it is always nice to just see a plant shopping video where, especially if you catch it during a live premiere, we can all just hang out and socialize. But again, Callaway's nursery, if you're a local plant foldie, somebody that lives out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, what Callaway's nursery do you often visit? There are many ones that I like to visit, but for the most part, I will visit the ones that are out in Frisco, and also the ones out in the North Dallas area, like the McKinney area, Prosper area. But as you can see right here, so many plants. And then you can see we even have a whole sea of like hibiscus that are not flowering. I like that a lot. And what else do we have right over here? Just many plants to pick from. Let me know in the comment section, plant foldies, what plants you like out of Calloways. If you are somebody that will visit the Dallas-Fort Worth area, will you visit the Calloways nursery? I know a lot of, Canadian plant foldies love all of the plants here. I hope that someday you may be able to visit the Dallas-Fort Worth area, because I mean, look at this cute looking sunflower right here, and this one doesn't get really tall, so you can just put that in a container. Again, I just love how so many plants have been hybridized and picked to have certain characteristics. These are more of the container varieties of sunflower, and I am all for it. I love sunflower. And I'm going to go ahead and end this video, plant foldies. I really hope you enjoyed this installment of Calloways and Big Box Store plant shopping. I will definitely have a new video. This is Richie at Grow Folds. Bye.